What's up, guys? This is Search Drake, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Loki Prime, or Loki. Now, when it comes to missions that require stealth, I prefer Loki above all, and I'll tell you why. He's going to go invisible, just like Ash or Avara. He will be able to slide, unlike Avara, but he does have the ability to remove enemies' weapons and revert them back to only melee weapons. This will help a lot when it comes to spy missions. Some of the things that I end up taking are a powerful weapon, something like the comb, which is here, and I'm just going to a quick little look, and then I'm just going to go ahead and jump into Loki's abilities. Now, the ones that I'm using the most is Invisibility and Radial Disarm. Now, the Radial Disarm doesn't have very much of a range on it, and that's not the main thing that I use. What I usually use is just Invisibility, but I do have the build set up for spy missions, hence Intrude for the Xless mod spot. Now, if you do not have a spot for the Xless, what you would probably want to switch out something along the lines of Augur Message, just because it is duration, and the duration obviously you're always going to want, but it's I guess you could take out Constitution since it costs 13 instead of 7 if you're running out of space until you get it. But the Intruder is going to allow for additional seconds while hacking, and this is going to come in really handy when you're trying to solve those puzzles. The more you do them, the better you're going to get at them. But let's say you're doing a sortie, for instance, you're going to need that extra time. And this is the primary version of Loki that I use for its build. I do bring Hushed Invisibility just because I want to make sure that I'm silent. If let's say I got my invisibility runs out and I'm trying to use my ability, let's say one enemy sees me, at the very least, if he sees me, as I go invisible from being noticed, I can go ahead and attack him, whether it's my shotgun, a secondary, my melee weapon, but it's going to reduce the noise to 100% while I'm invisible, which means nobody else is going to hear the gunfire. So I can pick off these enemies in case I get noticed. Now for the arcane slots, it's pretty much up to you. I don't have all the greatest ones, so usually what I throw in is just a Guardian and an Energize, which I know that those are very popular, but just kind of throw on something that would help. Maybe a shotgun one. Which one is that? I believe this one right here, like an arcane tempo for your shotgun. For instance, I'm using the comb, so this would work best for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and... Now, what I'm playing with is level 155 enemies. Obviously, I'm invisible as well. I'm not invincible, and enemies are not on pause. So I'm just going to go ahead and simulate these guys. And what you'll tend to notice in a lot of my videos, I usually bring the Zenistar. I have a special Zenistar build for the disc portion, so that's why I bring that. So 34 seconds isn't bad in my opinion. And I can always throw out a decoy, which dies like instantly for these guys, but this will give you a chance to go ahead and, shoot these enemies without being noticed. What I love is the maneuverability. Now, I love Ash, don't get me wrong, but I prefer to not have to strip their armor every time. It just seems like a nuisance. Not a nuisance, it doesn't take that long, but still. I just prefer Loki in general. Plus, with the comb and being silent, nobody else is being noticed. They can see that somebody's dying, but they wouldn't move to a terminal to set off the alarms if you're trying to prevent that. Now, the other thing that I bring is going to be the Zenistar. If you're invisible and you throw down a decoy, they're going to be directed to the decoy, and you can throw one right in the center of a Zenistar, which will move them even closer, which is pretty nice. And if you're always worried about them having weapons, there's always Radial Disarm, which will get rid of their primary weapons and revert them back to a melee weapon only feature, which I always like. And with the Zenistar, I can pretty much just sit here all day and just let them wind out. Use your primary weapon to go ahead and take out the rest of them, or your secondary, depending on what they are. I prefer the new core for this build if I'm bringing the comb from our primary, but this is what I got right now. Now, of course, Ash is definitely a contender for the going invisible, but when it comes to spy missions, Loki is king. Well, normally I'd say I got more to show you, but that's pretty much it. Loki is a very simple frame. Very easily can you modify him, and he doesn't really take too much forma. I mean, I got 1 on him, and I don't even need that. I mean, I can tank out Constitution and replace it with more efficiency, more strength. I mean, it might be fun to throw in maybe let's see, like a Prime to Vigor or like a Gladiator Aegis for more armor. Or even, actually, I'd probably recommend the Armored Agility instead, just because it's going to add more speed to it. But Intruder is the main one that we're looking at as well. And, I mean, you're even looking at the duration at 288%. That seems quite a bit for it only being like 34 seconds, which in my opinion is a little, what is it? Yeah, 34.56 seconds. It just doesn't seem like it's enough. I mean, I was kind of hoping for like a minute for Loki, and I think it used to be like that, but DE is always changing something. Alright guys, that is all I got for Loki today. As always, hit that like and subscribe button, and you guys have a good one. Be safe out there, guys.